Hello guys, today I'm talking about what needs to happen in like the dyslexic kind of like industry in the dyslexic area to really help a lot of us dyslexics. I really hope you find the answer really fascinating and intriguing. I hope you enjoyed today's episode, and guys, please subscribe, share, leave a comment so people can really grow this and for it to be valuable to people. Take care guys, enjoy today's episode. So the big question is this: how can dyslexics like us create a place, a community, a tribe where people at any stage of life can come and solve any challenge, amplify their strengths, and ultimately help them become who they were meant to be, or in other words, conquer their dyslexia? That is the question, and this show is the answer. My name's Theo Goff, and welcome to the Conquering Dyslexia podcast. Hey guys, I hope we're doing good and I hope we're doing alright. Today I want to talk to us kind of like about what dyslexics need in order to thrive in this day and in this age. And I'm really excited to talk to you today about this because I want to put I was thinking about this, I want to put a little spin on it, a little spin on the whole idea, okay, what needs to change in order for dyslexics to thrive? Because, for example, we all have these, I've been thinking about this, we all have like these challenges we go through, and I want to first off saying like, okay, when we look at, okay, what needs to change in order for the dyslexics to thrive? There is so much, in terms of that, so many amazing podcasts, so many amazing people, so many amazing talks and education and people out there pursuing a lot of stuff. And a lot of it is about dyslexia awareness. Just making people aware that dyslexia is a thing. 20% of the world population has it. It's not it's not only a disability. It's got so many positive traits that you can use in your own life that will benefit you in your own life. It's so incredible. People actually teaching about them, all the famous people out there that are dyslexic, and how actually you can strategically place dyslexics into a working human organization, a working environment, and have their strengths shine and have the company shine because they've got dyslexics in certain positions, and because being dyslexic would be seen more as a strength and less as a weakness. And especially educating a dyslexic person the way they're designed to work, and not making it hold them back in any way. Saying, okay, you've got dyslexia, this is the way you thrive, and yeah, you might have little support in English, or extra support in English, but the important thing is in teaching you in a whole different way. Dyslexic person doesn't learn in sitting down in a lesson and having someone talk to you for half an hour or an hour. Dyslexic people learn by being engaged, by using all their senses. And that's so they can fully grasp something, fully understanding what they're actually doing, instead of just like learning theory about it. And so understanding that, and that's incredibly important, and making people aware of that. And what's really interesting, think about this, like we're very, very lucky to be in our country when it comes to dyslexia, because most of the other world aren't nearly as advanced as us in terms of the UK. In America, different states have different laws, and it's a lot more harder to maybe get support there. But in England, it's a lot that I've seen, and I've spoken to a lot of people. It's a lot more straightforward. It's not as nearly complex, and this is just talking about in England and America. So many other countries find it so much more harder in the whole dyslexic world. Yes, of course, some countries may be better, but majority of countries are way, way worse. Think about 7 billion people on the planet. Okay, I'm not good at maths. There's a lot of them that's got dyslexia. 20% of them are dyslexic, but yet they don't know it. Now, what I mean when I say they're dyslexic, and to be honest, if I'm being absolutely honest, I get a little bit annoyed when they talk about, like the moment I got diagnosed. The moment I got diagnosed felt like this. The moment I got diagnosed felt like that. And the reason why I think it's so valuable to talk to those things is for people out there to, one, resonate with the story, saying I felt that too as well, and number two, getting people who hasn't got diagnosed to get diagnosed. But the reason why I get annoyed with that is because a diagnosis doesn't change you, only makes you understand you. A diagnosis day before the diagnosis and day after, you are the same person. And yes, you can feel like the whole world is upside down. You can answer all your difficulties. You can be annoyed why people didn't find out sooner. You can have all of these feelings. But here is the bare bones truth. Dyslexia is a word that's been made up to describe why a group of people that had average to high intelligence couldn't do certain tasks that involve literacy, and why their brain works slightly differently. Because they showed like they had good intelligence, but we couldn't figure out why they couldn't learn to read, learn to write the same way as everyone else. And so they labelled the name dyslexia. That's all dyslexia is. And of course, when you look more deeply into, dyslexia is a type of neurodiversity. What's neurodiversity? It means your brain is wired different. It means your brain is more diverse than the average brain diversity of people. Therefore, we got a name. Neurotypical is when people aren't too far off the norm. And so, and dyslexia is a type of that. So dyslexia does not just mean you have struggle with reading and writing. It means you think differently. You think in 3D pictures. You can make connections laterally. You can do so many more things. And so that's what dyslexia is, as a thing. And so the moment people got diagnosed, it's like, hold on a second. Yes, obviously, it's a massive realization, and it's a label that you haven't put on yourself, but now you can. So the old label of maybe dumb, stupid, different, awkward, whatever, you can put the label of dyslexic, and to some people that can be amazing, to some people it can be a curse. But the only difference between the people that think it's amazing compared to the people who think it's a curse is how we speak about ourselves, the story we tell ourselves about it. And knowing that, and knowing one of the biggest things that need to happen, and the biggest fights out there in the dyslexic world, is getting more people diagnosed for dyslexia. Dyslexia is such a big thing, and I do really feel that the whole world of diagnosing people, diagnosing children, there's like 6 different types of dyslexia, there's so many different types of this, there's so many different types of that. Where do these come from? These come from, we've got this large array of people, and yet we're seeing certain patterns. We see a pattern for dyslexia. That's a pattern for dyslexia. And then, within that pattern of dyslexia, we see more and more patterns, more subdivisions. And we start breaking those up and start labeling those with different terms. And so that's how all the things could come about. It's not because, this is the answer to everything. We as humans seeing patterns in humans that are the sort of certain number of people are like this. This is why in the brain, this is how it kind of happens. We're going to put like a label on it, and that's how it works. And I think that's kind of, we put too much emphasis on our diagnosis, less emphasis on improving ourselves. Let me say that again. I think it's so important. We put less emphasis. We put so much emphasis on our diagnosis and not enough emphasis on how to improve ourselves. Because how does a diagnosis help you exactly? You as a person. Yes, it can make you understand why you struggled in the past and all those things. And number 2 is the biggest reason you can begin to find a roadmap to find what works for you. Find a roadmap to the support, to the help, to this, that dyslexic means you have certain help on tests, certain help on this, certain help on that you wouldn't get otherwise before people called you dyslexic. And also knowing, this is like how your brain works, and this is how you can start learning, and this is how you can start developing, and actually not staying behind all the time. It is so amazing. But then so oftentimes, we stop trying to improve ourselves when we feel that the information has run out, the information there, the help there, the support's not there. Then sometimes we feel we can't help ourselves because the dyslexic help isn't there, and then we start maybe going down in a bad pattern. But listen, if we shift, this is like the whole kind of that journey I'm taking us on. If we shift our thinking from getting, like you as a dyslexic, not speaking to other people who you mean want to spread awareness and tell people who don't know about dyslexia. I'm talking about you as a dyslexic person, as a parent of someone dyslexic, as a dyslexic in work. You as a dyslexic, instead of focusing all your time on what your dyslexia is and start educating yourself about exactly what dyslexia is, start spending all your time and energy on how you specifically can improve. How you specifically can have these challenges and overcome them. And let me tell you, and you know this, your challenges isn't just around dyslexia. Now, you may be labeling that dyslexia is why you have these challenges, but sometimes the fact that you're nervous to put your hand up in a meeting isn't because you're dyslexia. But you might label it that because I've had these challenges. You mean like I've had all these challenges now, my confidence has been bound and I don't want to fail and I failed this and failed in that. That beats down all your confidence, and yes, you may have failed in a few things and your dyslexia hasn't helped that. But the reason why you're scared to put your hand up isn't because you're dyslexia. It's because you're scared of what will happen. It's because you're shy. It's because you're nervous. And that's a shy and nervous problem. It's not a dyslexic problem. So if you spend all our energy, all our focus on improving ourselves, it would feel so amazing for us to do things and for us to experiencing it. And one of the biggest, my goal in the whole dyslexic mission, the whole dyslexic journey, the whole reason why I'm doing all this is like, I said it to myself over and over again, like for years and years and years and years and years. So it's like when I'm trying to dream big, have a big goal. My goal is to change the dyslexic industry, to stop focusing on, okay, dyslexia and the diagnosis and the negatives, but start focusing, like this is you as an individual, how you can improve yourself. How you can take responsibility of your own dyslexia and take a lot of actions to improve it. And you taking actions to improve it. And that's my mission, is to shift the thinking from, okay, this is a dyslexic person, it's not your fault, we're going to give you the best help and support, and if this help and support doesn't work, I'm sorry, it's your learning disability. I'm going to shift that thinking to saying, look, you are dyslexic, but look, you can do anything you want. You've got to take responsibility of it, and you realise it's only up to you to get yourself to where you want to go. We can help you, but if you don't use the help we are providing, it will be useless to you. You're better off, having no help and doing your literally your absolute best, rather than having the help and doing nothing. Because you get way much more at not having help and doing more and then do everything you can with what you have, compared to having all the help and not doing a lot with what you have. And this is such critical key distinction. I think I really want people to have, and I don't want to dive right down because I think I'll get emotional about it. But the whole reason that people like me, people out there, I really feel are talking about dyslexia and helping people with dyslexia is because they've been through their own journeys. And they realised what really helped them, and they want to help other people. And I really feel that how I language it, and when I speak to all the other people, they say, "Yep, that's exactly it." Ultimately, the number one thing, what would change the dyslexic world if dyslexics took 100% responsibility of the dyslexia and of their lives. The dyslexic world will massively improve. Imagine all the confident dyslexics out there who aren't scared, who are proud about it. Imagine that. Imagine them going about it, speaking to people. How many more people know about dyslexia then? And they would look up to it, because people with dyslexia will be proud people. People with dyslexia will be strong people. People with dyslexia will have their lives together, because they took responsibility of themselves and of their dyslexia. Now, what does it mean to take responsibility of yourself and of your dyslexia? What it means is to realize that you are the only one to get to where you want to go. Realize that people can help you, but you're the only one that can do it, and you can do it. You can do it. Why? Because people have done it in the past, and people in the past, same position as you, is very similar, and who has done it, then you can. And the fact is, you're human. The fact is, you have so much capabilities within you. But if you don't use what you've got, you'll never, succeed. You never do the things. And I really feel that that's the answer, is people with dyslexia taking responsibility of their own dyslexia and working insanely hard at improving themselves. Things with dyslexia and also things maybe outside of dyslexia. Because having dyslexia means your brain work functions differently, means you learn differently, take in information differently. Doesn't mean you have low confidence. Doesn't mean you're a shy person to talk to people. Doesn't mean you can't have a conversation. Doesn't mean you can't have friends. Does not mean you can't succeed. Does not mean you can't pass a test. Does not mean you'll never be able to learn. Does not mean you'll never be able to read. Does not mean all these things. It just means your brain is wired differently. And that does not put any real limitations on your life. It may be harder to do things. It may slow you down. But the true limitations are not there. Because with enough work, enough dedication, enough thinking, it will work. And here's the thing about strategy. You don't know that you can't improve unless you tried every single strategy on earth. And guess what? We haven't. I try to improve reading, 8 years for a special needs school with 50 kids, 25 full-time adults. I took all those times. Before then, after then, I was obsessed with improving my reading and writing skills, and I did improve it. But yet, years after that, I still struggled with reading. I still had this book called The Dyslexic Advantage that I tried to read 5 or 6 times. Got to, page 50? And then gave up. All these times not trying to read it. Trying to build a habit where I'm reading every single time. And with all the discipline, all the determination in the world, I only got so far. Why? Because after 20 minutes, I would get a brain fog and I wouldn't remember anything that I wrote. But once I went through this little method called the universal reading method, I went through it. The next day I got up, looked at a book, read 20 pages of the book within less than an hour, felt effortless. The words were jumping out of the page. That's what I felt like. I felt like reading when I wasn't dyslexic. Anyway, from there, I finished that book in less than a month. First book I've ever read all my life. In the subsequent 3 months that followed, I read 3 more books. And so going from never reading a book in like a proper chapter book in my life, despite having all the help and all the support in my life, was from one time, compare that to reading 4 whole books in 4 months with complete comprehension and enjoyment. How's that possible? A strategy that I didn't know before. A strategy that I didn't know that will work. But I tried it and it did work. So the strategy for it might be out there. Probably is out there. You just got to go and look for it. Okay? I'm so passionate about this. So guys, I hope you really understood that. I think the biggest takeaway you can get from listening to me talk and ramble here is that, look, I can have all the help in the world. I can have all the right support in the world. I can have all the right care in the world. But unless I put in the effort, or unless I do something, I won't really improve. My challenges will still be there. I'll still be in the same position. I'm the only one that can do that. And guess what? If you don't have help, if you don't have support, if you don't, have a lot of people around you, you can still do it. Why? Because you have to start for step 1, step 2, and just work on yourself. Work on yourself. Other people have done it in your very similar position. So can you. Don't limit yourself. And realize that's what got changed in the dyslexia world is you. It's people. It's I've got to change. You've got to change. Everyone's got to change who has dyslexia and change for the better and work on themselves. That's the number one thing that will help the dyslexic community grow, spread awareness and help more people. Because once you do that, that will spread like wildfire. If every individual person does that, will they? Well, that's why I'm here, to get all them to. I'm joking, guys. Anyway, take care, farewell, and see you guys later.